Hi, I am Podifalda. Today I am going to discuss about the chemical coordination in animals of standard 10. Already we discussed about the chemical coordination in plant. In case of the plant, they does not contain any specific organ or the specific glands, but they contain the meristematic tissue, and from the meristematic tissue one specialized type of chemical substance are secreted which can coordinate between the source and target region, but after activity they are going to be destroyed. This type of chemical substance are commonly known as a plant hormone, or in case of the plant, the most of the plant hormones are regulating their growth. That's why they are termed as a phytohormones. But in animals we have the specialized glands. What is glands? Glands means the combination of cell which forms the thickening structure, and they are able to secrete the chemical substance. This type of structure are termed as a glands. Generally within our body there are present three types of gland. The first one is exocrine gland. Exo means outer, crine means secretion. It means the outer secretive glands. The secretion of this type of glands comes out of the body. That's why they are termed as a exocrine glands. When we observe the structure of a exocrine glands, suppose these glands having the two parts, one the lowermost part or the bottom part contain the glandular lesion, and with the gland there attached a tubular portion having an anterior opening. These are known as a duct. So in exocrine gland they contain the duct. By using the duct the chemical substance comes out of the body. And the example of exocrine glands is the sweat gland or the sebaceous gland. Now the second one, the mixed gland. Mixed means the glands having the both type of features. One portion is exocrinal in nature, it means the containing the duct, and another portion are without the duct, it means the endocrinal in nature. Now when we observe the mixed gland, the best example of mixed gland is the pancreas. Now if we observe the structure of a pancreas, this is a leaf-like structure which associates in our alimentary canal. Now one portion of the pancreas are having the duct. Duct means the tubular portion having the anterior opening. Now this portion are exocrinal in nature, means the outer secretive in nature. Now from this portion the pancreatic juice will be secreted and which help in the digestion. But on the another hand, of the other portion are without the duct, it means the endocrinal in nature, inner secretive in nature. Now this portion are secreting the hormone. Now this type of gland are termed as a mixed gland. Now the endocrinal gland. Endo means inner, crine means secretion. It means the inner secretive gland. The glands are going to secrete the chemical substance which never comes out of the body. They are going to directly mix with the blood by using of diffusion. This type of gland are termed as a endocrinal gland. Now the best example of endocrinal gland is the pituitary gland. When we observe the structure of a endocrinal gland, this gland does not contain any duct. That's why they are termed as a ductless gland. Ductless gland. Generally the secretion of endocrine gland are termed as a hormone, and we know that hormone act as a chemical coordinator because hormones slowly can coordinate between the source region, it means the region from where the hormone is secreted, and the target region, it means the functional zone of a specific hormone. So hormone can slowly coordinate between the source region and the target region, but after activity hormone is going to be destroyed. That's why the hormone termed as a chemical coordinator. Now we are going to discuss the different characteristic of a hormone. The first characteristic, most of the hormones are protein in nature. Hormones secrete in less amount, but the results are the long term. The mode of function of a hormone are quite slow in nature. The fourth one is hormone known as a chemical coordinator. Generally the fifth one is hormone is the secretion of endocrinal gland. Now the next one is we cannot store the hormone. Now the next point will be the feedback mechanism, one of the most interesting characteristic of hormone, that is the feedback mechanism. It means the hormone can control, one particular hormone can control its own amount within the body. Generally, feedback mechanism is the loops which help to control its own amount by its own action, that known as a hormonal feedback mechanism. In this point we will discuss in the later. Now we are going to discuss the different glands and their secretion. The first gland is pituitary gland. Generally, the most important endocrine gland of our body is the pituitary gland, which present in our brain region. Generally, under the hypothalamus within the celatopsica chamber, one pituitary gland present, that known as a pituitary gland. Now, pituitary gland known as a master gland, because the secretion of the pituitary gland can control the another gland's activity. For an example, pituitary gland secrete the TSH, it means the thyroid stimulating hormone. These hormones are going to mix with the blood and are going to control the activity of thyroid gland. That's why the pituitary gland termed as a master gland. But nowadays, the pituitary are not known as a master gland just because of the supreme commander hypothalamus. It's shown that the supreme thalamus can control the pituitary's activity by discharging some releasing factor or releasing hormone. For an example, suppose pituitary gland secrete TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, which are going to mix with the blood and circulate to the thyroid gland. Now this hormone going to stimulate the thyroid gland and controls the thyroxine secretion, control its secretion or activity, control its secretion. That's why it is known as a master gland. That's why the pituitary gland known as a master gland. Now the hypothalamus can control the activity of pituitary gland. First one, this is the hypothalamus. For the TSH, hypothalamus will secrete the thyrotropin releasing factor. These hormones are going to mix with the blood, are going to circulate to the pituitary gland. Now the pituitary gland will secrete the TSH, and these hormones are going to circulate to the thyroid gland and thyroid gland will secrete the thyroxine hormone. This is the method. Now we are going to discuss about the structure of pituitary gland. Generally, the whole pituitary gland are divided into the three parts. The first posterior parts are termed as a anterior part of the pituitary gland, the middle part and the posterior part. From the anterior part, the pituitary gland secretes the different types of tropic hormone. What is tropic hormone? Tropic hormone means those hormones which are going to stimulate the other endocrine glands and control their function. Generally, the most of the hormones of the pituitary gland are tropic in nature. From the anterior part of the pituitary gland secretes the GH, it means the growth hormone. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. ACTH, adenocortical hormone. GTH, gonadotropic hormone. It from the middle portion of the pituitary gland, they are secreting the MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone, and from the posterior part, vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. These are all the hormones which are secreted by the pituitary gland. But in our syllabus, according to our syllabus, we are going to discuss about the growth hormone in details. What is growth hormone? generally the secretion of the pituitary gland which stimulates our growth and control our growth, that termed as a growth hormone. The function of the growth hormone will be, it stimulates our growth and controls our growth. Generally, during the growing period, the pituitary will secrete the growth hormone, and this growth hormone will be circulated at the anterior portion of the bone, and hence the increasing of the deposition of calcium and phosphorus. And when the bone start to deposit the calcium and phosphorus, the length of the bone will be increased, hence the performing the growth. The high secretion of growth hormone in childhood, that will causes the gigantism in adulthood. What is gigantism? It means one person having almost the 7 feet height with muscular figure. He must looks like a giant. If the less secretion occur in the childhood, it will causes the dwarfism. It means the person having the less than 4 feet height. These are all the things relating to the growth hormone. Now the second gland is thyroid gland. Generally, one butterfly-like gland present in our throat region, that known as a thyroid gland, one of the most important endocrine gland. The endocrinal secretion of thyroid gland is known as a thyroxine. It's known as a thyroxine. Already we know about the hypothalamus of the pituitary gland, how the hypothalamus of the pituitary gland control the activity of thyroid gland. First, the hypothalamus will secrete the thyroid releasing factor, which are going to mix with the blood and circulate to the pituitary gland. Then the pituitary gland will release the TSH, or the thyroid stimulating hormone. What is TSH? The secretion of the pituitary gland which can stimulate the thyroid gland and control its activity, that known as a TSH. Now the pituitary gland will release the TSH. This TSH will going to mix with the blood and circulate to the thyroid gland. Then the thyroid gland will secrete the thyroxine. Now, what are the functions of thyroxine? Thyroxine plays important role in the metabolic activity or metabolism. What are the metabolism? Generally, metabolism are the intercellular activity, or the events occur within the cell that known as the intercellular activity. And one thing must be noticed, that it's about the goiter. The main component for the synthesis of thyroxine is the iodine. If one person does not intake the iodine for the long period, then the thyroid gland are not able to synthesize the thyroxine hormone due to the deficiency of iodine, and the cells of the thyroid gland start to enlarge. Suddenly one bladder-like structure will be appear in our throat region, that known as a goiter. Now the next gland will be the pancreas. Generally, one leaf-like structure present in our digestive tract, that known as a pancreas. Pancreas is a mixed gland because pancreas contain the both type of features. One portion are endocrinal in nature, another portion are exocrinal in nature. From the endocrinal portion, pancreas will secrete the hormone, and from the exocrinal portion, pancreas will secrete the pancreatic juice. Now, scientist Langerhans first observed the group of cells present within the pancreas, which are scattered like the islands, that known as the islets of Langerhans. Islets of Langerhans. These are present within the endocrinal portion of a pancreas, and within this region there are present the 4 types of cell. Alpha cell, from the alpha cell pancreas will secrete the glucagon. Beta cell, from the beta cell pancreas will secrete the insulin. Delta cell, somatostatin hormone, and another one is the C cell or the PP cell, and the function of this cell are quite unknown for us. Now in our syllabus we will discuss about the insulin only. So what is insulin? The endocrinal secretion of the pancreas, which regulates the amount of blood sugar or the amount of sugar or the glucose in our blood, that known as the insulin. The function of the insulin. First one, insulin can release the glucose from the storage of the glucose within our body and force them to take part in the metabolism. The second one, insulin prevents the glycogenolysis process. It means the formation of glucose process. The third one, insulin regulates the amount of glucose in our blood. Due to the deficiency of insulin, the amount of glucose in the blood will be increased. Generally, the normal range of glucose in our blood is 70 to 130 mg per dl blood. When the amount of glucose will be increased from this amount or from the normal range due to the deficiency of insulin, that will causes one type of disease that known as a diabetes mellitus or the blood sugar. Now diabetes is a common disease, and nowadays the artificial insulin injections are available in the medical store to prevent this disease. Now the next one is adrenal gland. Generally it is one of the most important endocrine gland, which present just at the top of the kidney, like the cap of the kidney. Suppose this is the kidney, we can found these are the gland. They are the adrenal gland. These are the adrenal gland. Generally, the endocrinal secretion of adrenal gland, adrenal gland. The endocrinal secretion of adrenal gland is known as the adrenaline hormone. Now, one of the most interesting question is how the pituitary or the hypothalamus control the function of adrenaline gland. We know that these are the hypothalamus, these are the pituitary gland, and these are the adrenal gland. Hypothalamus secretes the adrenocortico releasing factor. Adrenocortico releasing factor, which are going to mix with the blood and circulate to the pituitary gland. Then the pituitary gland will secrete the ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. These hormones are going to mix with the blood and circulate to the adrenal cortex region, the outer part of the adrenal gland, and secretes the adrenaline hormone. Now, what are the function of adrenaline hormone? During the critical situation like the fear, happiness, or the sadness, the adrenal gland will secrete the adrenaline hormone, which help to equilibrium our body condition with the surroundings. By increasing the breathing rate, it means more oxygen will be inhaled, and by the increasing of the heartbeat rate, it means the more amount of oxygenated blood will be circulated through the heart. It means our body cell will get the more amount of oxygen. This by using the more amount of oxygen, our body cells are performing the more amount of respiration, so huge amount of energy will be discharged. Now by using this energy, our body will be equilibrium or adjust our body condition with the surroundings. Or in another sense, adrenaline known as a emergency hormone, because adrenaline deals with the emergency situation by stimulating or increasing the breathing rate. It means the more amount of oxygen will be inhaled, or by increasing the heartbeat rate. It means the more amount of oxygenated blood will be circulated towards the body. Now the next one is gonadal secretion. The secretion of the gonads. What is the gonads? Generally gonads are the prime reproductive organ or the organ which can produce the gametes and the sex hormone. In case of the male, the prime reproductive organ are the testes, and in case of the female, the prime reproductive organ are the ovary. Now we know that the hypothalamus or the pituitary can control the activity of gonads. The for example, in case of the gonadal secretion, hypothalamus will secrete the gonadotropin releasing factor. Then the pituitary will secrete the GTH, gonadotropic hormone, the secretion of the pituitary gland, which can stimulate our gonad and control their secretion. Now these GTH are going to mix with the blood and circulate to the gonads. Now this GTA is having the three part, including FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, or ICSH, interstitial stimulating hormone, or LH, luteinizing hormone. Now these GTH are going to mix with the blood and circulate to the gonads. In male, that is the testis, and in female, that is the ovary. Then the testis will secrete the testosterone, and ovary will secrete the estrogen or progesterone. Now, what are the function of testosterone? Generally, the endocrine secretion of testes, which commonly known as the male sex hormone, that known as a testosterone. It is the male sex hormone. The function of testosterone. The testosterone help to set the puberty in male. What are the puberty? During the adolescence, our body goes in the rapid changes, which leads to the reproductive maturity, that known as a puberty. The third one, testosterone help to develop the secondary sexual characteristic in male. What are the secondary sexual characteristic? Means the characteristic which help to distinguish a male from the female. Testosterone plays important role in the spermatogenesis process. What is the spermatogenesis process? The process by which the sperm will form. The sperm are going to be formed. Now on the other hand, the female sex hormone. The primary sex hormone of a female is the estrogen. Now, what are the functions of the estrogen? Estrogen set the puberty in female. Estrogen also help to develop the secondary sexual characteristic of female. And the third one, estrogen plays important role in oogenesis. And on the other hand, there is another hormone which are commonly known as the secondary sex hormone in female, that known as a progesterone. Now, after the ovulation, this progesterone are increase the amount within the female body, and this progesterone help to store the gelatinous substance in the uterus wall to contain the thickening uterus wall. It means these uterus are help in the implantation process by creating a thick uterus wall. Now the next thing is the feedback mechanism. What are the feedback mechanism? It means a loop which a particularly one hormone can control its own amount by its own action. For example, here is the thyroid gland. Suppose thyroid gland secretes the TSH. Thyroid gland secretes the TSH. Thyroid gland. because the first the hypothalamus secrete thyrotropin releasing factor or the releasing hormone, then the pituitary will secrete the TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, then the thyroid gland will secrete the thyroxine. Now if the amount of thyroxine will be increased, then this thyroxine will send the message to the pituitary gland, and pituitary gland will stop the secretion of TSH, and or the pituitary gland send the message to the hypothalamus for prohibiting the secretion of thyrotropin releasing factor. This type of feedback mechanism are also known as a negative feedback mechanism. I think that's enough for today. In our next video, we will discuss about the physical coordinator in animals.